Japanese is said to be a very difficult language to learn. One reason for this is that there are three types of writing systems in Japanese: Kanji, Hiragana, and Katakana. Why are there three? You can find out by studying the history of these writing systems. I know, the word history may make some people feel sleepy. However, I hope that you pay attention because it contains important information that will help you study the Japanese language more effectively. Don't worry, we'll try to make it as entertaining as possible. Promise. Japan did not have an established writing system until around the 5th century. Of course, there were no smartphones or videos, so the only means of communicating was oral communication. On the other hand, our neighbor across the sea, China, was said to have been using characters for reading and writing since around 1300 BC. Cultural exchanges between Japan and China began around 2,000 years ago. In the midst of this exchange, during the 5th century, characters were eventually adopted from China. This is what we now call kanji. Let's look at some examples. What does this kanji mean? This kanji represents the shape of something. What do you think it is? Hands up. The answer is a mountain. This Chinese character was influenced by the shape of a mountain. In Chinese-based pronunciation, it's actually read as san. Here's another. What does this kanji mean? This one represents the shape of something else. What do you think it is? Time's up. It's the kanji for river. The Chinese-based pronunciation of this kanji is sen. As you can see, the Chinese characters themselves have their own meaning and are often called ideograms. Also, the Chinese-based pronunciation or the Chinese reading is called onyomi. Let's remember this term, onyomi, from now on. It will come up often in studying other kanji later on. Let's compare these with English letters. This is D. What does it mean? It means nothing. This is O. Again, no meaning. This is G. It doesn't mean anything either. However, when we put them together, they form the word dog. Characters in the English alphabet, like other systems, do not have inherent meanings, but are only used for pronunciation. The term we used for these characters is phonogram. The fact that Chinese characters are ideograms is a significant feature. To put it in an exaggerated way, they are like pictographs. Even if you don't know how to read them, you can often understand their meaning by guessing or knowing the things that they represent. From among the many kanji, those whose pronunciation can be heard in Japanese conversation were adopted. The kanji an, which is similar to this sound, a, was adopted. The same is true for the kanji I, the kanji U, and the kanji E, and so on. In other words, Chinese ideogram characters were adopted as Japanese phonogram characters. This is the ancient Japanese use of kanji. It's also known as manyogana, which is rarely used today. Why? Why? Because of the fact that there were multiple kanji for a single Japanese pronunciation, as they had similar sounds. Japanese were then finally able to communicate using the written word, but there was a problem. Ohayo gozaimasu. Have you ever heard of this Japanese phrase? In English, it's good morning. It's a very simple phrase, don't you think? But if you write it in Manyogana, it looks like this. Wow, it's very difficult, isn't it? So, here's what the Japanese of that time thought. This is a mountain. It's san in the Chinese reading or onyomi. But in Japanese, mountain is pronounced as yama. In Manyogana, this kanji is used. The kanji for mountain is also very hard to write, don't you think? So they stopped using this Manyogana and also stopped reading words as phonograms. They used kanji and read them in the Japanese way. In other words, we created a reading system that is a mix of Japanese and Chinese. The Japanese reading of kanji is called kunyomi. This way, kanji can be read and written more easily. Whoever thought of this is very smart. The idea of mixing Chinese and Japanese characters is brilliant. The Chinese character is river. It's called sen in the Chinese reading or onyomi. In the Japanese reading or kunyomi, river is pronounced as kawa. In Manyogana, this kanji is used like mountain. It uses kanji and is read in the Japanese reading. It's a river. This kanji, kawa, is the Japanese reading or kunyomi. Let's remember the word kunyomi. We've just learned the concept of onyomi and kunyomi. Even though Japanese developed the kunyomi, they did not abandon onyomi. Both readings are still used today. So, with this kanji, sometimes it's read as kawa, and sometimes it's read as sen. The multiple readings of a single kanji is one of the things that makes studying kanji very difficult. Kanji became a little easier for people to read because of kunyomi. However, kanji was still difficult to write for commoners because only the nobility and other intellectuals used it. Luckily, the women of that time, who were very rich in ideas, invented a simpler writing system. This was called Hiragana. Hiragana is a simpler phonogram variant of Manyogana. Let me ask you a question. Which hiragana is similar to this kanji a in Manyogana? Please choose one from the 5 choices on your right. The correct answer is this. If you look closely, you can see that the hiragana looks very similar to the Manyogana for a. Now, let's look at I in Manyogana. Which hiragana goes with this kanji? The correct answer is this. Which is the hiragana equivalent of U in Manyogana? The correct answer is this. For E and O, the hiragana equivalents are these. If you look closely, you'll see that they are somewhat similar. These hiragana characters are unique to Japan, created by Japanese and used only in the Japanese language. Finally, Japan has its own writing system. Since hiragana is easier to write than kanji, one would think it would be more useful. At that time, aristocrats and men preferred to use kanji, while hiragana was preferred by women. For this reason, they were sometimes referred to as women's characters. But today, kanji and hiragana are used by both men and women alike. But wait, there's more! During the same period, the writing system called Katakana was created. Katakana was originally made for Buddhists who used kanji and wanted to write kanji faster and easier. What was the best way to do that? Using manyogana, they have created characters that were formed from taking a part of each kanji. This is katakana. If you look closely, you can see that they really use a part of their kanji equivalents. Today, katakana is mainly used for foreign words or loan words. Katakana is often used when foreign names or foreign words are used as they are in Japanese. In this way, Japan, which imported kanji from China, invented its own reading system, kunyomi, its own writing system, hiragana and katakana, and now uses a combination of characters from these systems.